Welcome everybody to the Black Delegates podcast. The date is it's February the 19th, 2018. Coming to y'all for episode 3. So let's start it off with the fellas here. We got our very own undercover brother, a.k.a. Jason Bourne's financial advisor, a.k.a. the Brown Panther, a.k.a. the spreadsheet assassin, Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Yo, what's up, Ryan? Doing good, man. Just out here chilling.
Next up, we got the man without fear, a.k.a. Mr. Lover Lover, a.k.a. Mr. Sasquatch, a.k.a. the mixtape masochist, a.k.a. Ghetto Phenom. How you doing?
Man, you forgot one of my AKAs,
What's
man.
the other one, man? I don't know that one. You got to keep that to your wife.
Yeah, well, this is one that I got from the ladies, but the ladies like to call me Cat. They like to call me Cassius Bay.
Cassius Bay.
Cause I'm the greatest. I'm a bad man. But yeah, what's good with it, fellas? I'm happy to be here once again.
All right.
Now let's see how you hype up yourself. I'm interested to hear this.
I almost didn't do one for myself, but then I was like, no, I got to. All right, and I'm your host, 40 Water, a.k.a. Mossberg Mason, a.k.a. the Black Larry David, a.k.a. the most athletic fat dude that you know. The Black Ryan.
The Black Larry David. I like that.
That's right. So, welcome everybody to the show. So we're going to move on in, I guess, straight to our This Week in Blackness. We're going to start with brownness this week. So we can start with you, Paul.
All right. Weekend brownness for me. The main thing was I watched Get Out. Finally, I am way behind because I am totally old and totally washed. But I finally watched Get Out.
That's black.
So yeah, look for that review discussion in the upcoming pod. But yeah, that was the highlight of my weekend brownness. Everything else I did this week was pretty white, and that's how it always is.
That's what we need you for, undercover brother. You just stay
right.
low.
That's right.
Stay low.
That's right.
All right.
I'll report back on what the white people are talking about. Don't worry.
Exactly. Thank you for your service. All right, and Phenom, how was your weekend blackness?
Yo, my weekend blackness was good, man. It was very black and very wonderful. Had a couple of things happen to me this week. First of all, this past Thursday, I went to an event that was a salute to young leaders, honoring people that are doing wonderful things in the community. Particularly targeted for African Americans. So my sister actually was an honoree. This is a ceremony I went to maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and then I hadn't been for a while. I go to other similar events, but it's the first time being there. So to see my sister there being honored, and really it's just a bunch of people that come together, black folks, get dressed up, but it's not a stuffy ceremony. It's real laid back. It's real cool. If you got people who got the sororities or fraternities, they let them shout out. They do they little calls and do they little signs and things like that. And it's just a real laid back atmosphere, but just to see, positive black people getting recognized and acknowledged for what they do, that was a wonderful thing. Number 2, Black Panther. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But at the salute, I want to tell you about this little incident that happened. So one of my coworkers was there with his homie. And, we around the table. They kind of got cocktail tables and hors d'oeuvres or whatever at the beginning. So we're sitting talking. I asked my coworker, I'm like, yo, I know you got your Black Panther tickets, right? He like, yeah, man, I bought them, a month ago. Something crazy like that. I'm like, okay. He like, I know you got yours, right? I'm like, yeah, I got mine. We got ours a couple nights ago, ready to go see it. So I turned to his partner, everybody looking at him. We like, hey, what about you? You going to go see Black Panther? And the brother was like, nah. And it just got a real awkward silence at the table. Like even his homie, like everybody at the table was just like, oh, And so he like, dang, y'all just gonna do me like that? Y'all just, I'm not going to see it, so y'all just shut me out. And we like, yeah, kind of. Like you gotta explain yourself on that. You can't just be like, nah.
So this is
Black Panther.
This is required viewing for all black people. I get.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. And so, what turns out happening, he goes on to explain himself, and he's one of them brothers where he's like, well, I just want more for our people, and I mean everybody's getting excited about this, but I think we can do better. And he was one of them
Is he
dudes,
a
and
hotel
so
type dude, or what's the
I don't know
definition?
what the brother is,
Okay.
but yeah. So he's one of those dudes where
He
he
took
was
Black for
turned off
Black
because
Panther.
everybody was so excited about it, and he thought, this is just a movie, it's too trivial. So eventually he kind of relented and said, you know what, I'm gonna go see it. I'm just not excited to see it right away, so I'm gonna go see it down the line. But so we like, all right, you all right, you get a pass, but you got those type of brothers everywhere, and you done seen people dissing people for wearing dashikis or whatever. But like I said, we're gonna talk about Black Panther later. So that was my week in blackness so far.
Nice.
What about you, Ryan?
My week in blackness. I don't really know how black it was. I guess I was. It might have been brown. I might have to say this is a week in brownness for me. Did a lot of Netflixing and chilling. I had to catch up on some
And
sci-fi.
chilling.
Yeah, man, Netflix and chilling. I got the kids. I don't have the babysitters here in St. Louis anymore, so I got to get out when I can get out. So right now that's not a possibility. So I'm gonna wait. So caught up on some sci-fi. Uh, watched that Cloverfield paradox, and it is a paradox. So it's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty mind bending. I'm not even sure if I can necessarily recommend that to nobody, but if you heavy into sci-fi, go ahead and check it out. You'll probably enjoy it. But for regular people, nah, it's a bit crazy. Um, Otherwise, man, I've been literally just consumed by this podcast called Up and Vanished. It's pretty old.
Mm-hmm.
It's regarding it's similar to Serial, if you've heard that podcast, or Making of a Murderer, where they're investigating a cold case.
Yeah.
Um, and it's about a girl that went missing or a woman that went missing in Georgia in some small town. And
Okay.
yeah, this happened in like 2016, man. But I'm enthralled by it. I am listening to it every day, all during work. I'm listening to it on my lunch break. I'm listening to it on the way home to work, and that's pretty much what I've been doing for the past
It
3 days since I discovered it. Three or
who's it
four
by? Is
days.
it by
All
Serial?
right,
Is
all
it
right.
is it by
No,
Serial or not?
it's just a dude. He decided that he liked Serial and he was going to do some investigating on a cold case, and that's the
Mm.
case that he pulled up because he lived in Georgia, and he just went and started talking to people, and
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, it's really good, man. So if you like Serial, if you liked Making of a Murderer, I would definitely check out Up and Vanished.
Okay.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
check it out.
Yeah,
Up and
Subscribe to that
vanished.
joint right now.
yeah. So that's pretty much what I had, and then I guess that leads into our first topic because I did get a chance to watch the All Star game. Both of y'all watched that, right?
Of
Yes, sir.
course.
Yeah, yeah. So All Star game started off with the pregame show or the pregame festivities. I thought it was a bit strange right off the bat, but so it started off kind of with a little skit from Kevin Hart, and I'm just wondering
Well, hold on.
how long can Kevin Hart last?
Well,
Oh,
hold on.
go ahead.
Can we back up?
Yeah.
Really, it started with the pregame was the Angela Rye, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo sit down, and it was a couple other people, Valerie Jarrett.
I
I
didn't
don't
even
know.
see that
That
part.
went on really. You didn't see that? Yeah,
No, I didn't
that's
watch
like
that.
when it first I think it was like an hour and a half pregame, and that was like the first 30 minutes of it or so.
Oh, okay.
That was a little weird, but it was getting into all the social issues. But we can skip over it, I guess, if I'm the only one that saw it. It wasn't that
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, I
it
didn't
wasn't
start
that
watching
great.
till 7.
We don't tune in that early,
Okay,
bro.
skip this part. Just start over, Ryan.
Nah, it's
Yeah,
fine.
we'll just go with the cool part, the good stuff.
Yeah, so the All Star game, pregame, at least when I turned it on, started off with they had the dancers or whatever and getting ready, and then out comes Kevin Hart, and I just wonder when is his brother's 15 minutes gonna be up. It's lasted for a really long time. I really like him, but at the same time, it's amazing me how long his career is going as far as a comedian goes. Because usually you hot for 5 years and you fall off real quick and you disappear, but he is not disappearing.
he's good in small doses, but I'm sick of seeing him at every single sporting event.
Uh-oh.
Of course, it was really funny seeing him at the Super Bowl, especially after the Super Bowl, trying to get on the stage. We talked about that, I think, last time.
Yeah.
Those things like that. But it seems like every celebrity, NBA celebrity game, he's got to be, going crazy and doing things. And now he's doing the intros. It's a little too much. Like I said, the wife and I, we saw him, had the chance to see him in Montreal. It wasn't we were going to really see him particularly, but Montreal has like a comedy festival, huge comedy festival every year called Just for Laughs every summer. It's really great. But we just happened to be in town one year. This is like after we got married, and went up there, and he happened to be headlining at a show. And
Man,
I
you
remember
talking
my wife
about when
told
you
me
got married? What was that, 15 years ago?
I wish it was 15 years ago. No, it wasn't. It was like 7-8 years ago. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
but he was just becoming famous, and I remember the wife turning to me. It's like maybe 20-30 minutes, and it was like, he is not funny. He was really just the MC, so he'd go up there and tell some jokes, and have another comedian come out for do another 20-minute set, and then he'd come back out there, tell some more jokes. But he was just getting started, and I remember the wife. He was not really funny. He did not have it that night. But yeah, so I've kind of known about Kevin Hart for a while, but I like him in certain things in small doses, but full movies usually they're not so good. And yeah, I'm just sick of seeing him at All-Star games. What about you, Ish?
For me, Kevin Hart, he's alright. I don't hate him. A lot of people hate him. I don't hate him. But I do feel like, he's a dude that's out there grinding. Nonstop,
Definitely.
just kind of incessantly. He's on the grind. So I do understand how people get sick and get tired of him. It's just an overdose of Kevin Hart. For me, I don't watch him all that much. I don't tune into a lot of his stuff, so it doesn't bother me when I do see him. Like, at first I thought the All-Star thing was corny, like the first couple of guys that came out and he kind of cracked jokes or whatever. I was like, oh, this is about to be whack. But then he actually got a good couple of lines in on folks, and you could see the athletes themselves were laughing as they came out. So, the fact that he had some good snaps and that the athletes enjoyed it, I'm like, cool. I don't mind it. Right now, personally, I think Kevin Hart, for me, he's better in movies than he is in stand-up or, all this other stuff that he's doing. I can take him in a movie, but, just stuff like that. Like, he's cool, but I think he's grinded so much. Like, he never really took time away for you to miss him.
Right.
He's just always there. He's like DMX back in the day, where DMX was just dropping albums like back to back to back.
Yeah.
And so you burn out quick that way. So, that's what I thought about Kevin Hart.
Man, I thought it was real awkward, I guess, and I think it took a while for the crowd to understand what he was doing, because it's not a roast. It's not a situation where you should be snapping on people. If that's my first All-Star game and I want to come out, and just be recognized for being cold at hooping, like, that's kind of messed up. That dude told Andre Drummond that he was like Chewbacca and he needed to shave his shoulders. It was pretty funny, but at the same time, I felt for them dudes like, man, it's your first time here. It ain't like you LeBron, so you could just laugh at it. Like, the other 14 times was cool. No, it's not what it was. It was like first time there. Joel Embiid was not laughing at all, and that dude cracks jokes on everybody. But he was so serious. I don't know. I thought it was strange. It was just a weird way to handle it. And then the little skit and everything that they did even before that, where they had Jamie Foxx rapping. They had Queen Latifah rapping. They brought out Ludacris.
Loved it.
I was
It
just
was
like,
amazing.
where are they finding these people at?
They needed people that marketable, that was big names but weren't going to do anything controversial. I think that's what that was. That whole skit was all about that. Like, nobody's checking for any of them people anymore on any level at all. Jamie Foxx, I guess, for some movies, and nobody out there rapping. I wasn't checking for. Were you guys looking out for that or wanting to hear any of that?
I didn't. I tuned into that halfway through. Like, that's when I turned on the game when it was going. So I saw Luda. I saw, like, on Twitter that people were saying Queen Latifah was out there and some of the other people. I thought it was fine. It was interesting because the NBA tends to trend at a younger audience, just demographic-wise. And those people, those are for exennials, like us. Those are people who were going strong back when we were in high school. So I did think it was peculiar, because that doesn't necessarily attract a younger audience. But, I thought it was fine. Like you said, it was something they wanted to play a safe move, and, it is what it is. Everybody was there for the game, not for that pre-game antics and such.
Yeah, I thought it went on a little too long. Wish it could have been a little shorter, little intro, but it was cool. Whatever, everybody was waiting for the game to start and everything to go on, so it was all right.
So, but before we get into the game, which I want to get into that, but I know we're gonna talk about the anthem. So, Ryan, what's your take on the anthem?
So who was that? It was Fergie, right?
Fergie.
Okay, all right. So at first, when she starts singing, I was like, "Oh, this ain't bad. It ain't bad." She kind of doing a jazz rendition of some kind. And then it just started really going off the rails. Like she was trying way too hard. It was like almost that she was doing a parody of herself singing jazz. And you could tell in the players' eyes, they didn't know what to do. And after a while, they just couldn't hold it in no more. Draymond's laughing. Steph's laughing. Everybody was laughing.
Yeah, I had the same reaction. I mean, like first of all, when it first came on, I didn't know who was going to sing the national anthem, and then he comes up there, and they say announce Fergie singing. My first reaction is, she can't really sing. So I knew it wasn't going to be great, but I didn't know it was going to be that bad. Although in real time, I was kind of like, okay, she didn't really hit some of the high notes, and it kind of had a weird kind of cadence to it, I guess you want to call it, or whatever like that. But kind of seeing the reaction afterwards was definitely funny. I don't know. She tried to go for a jazz thing, and it just didn't work out. But I don't know really. I don't really know why you get Fergie to sing it in the first place. But
me personally, I didn't mind it. Like I thought it was cool. Now I will say that I did not see it live. Like that was something I heard all the hoopla about it. Saw people talking about it on social media, so I went back and I watched it this morning. Just on YouTube. So. Part of it may have been that my expectations were just super low because everybody was dogging on it. But when I heard it, I was like, what's wrong with that? Like, it's a little jazz style. Marvin Gaye did the same thing where he switched it up, gave it a little soul funk sound. And that's like one of the most iconic national anthems that we talk about. And so for this with her, like, I didn't mind it at all. Like, I thought it was fine. I didn't get what all the uproar was about. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like people told you it was so bad, so therefore you would expect it to be really bad, and then when it's just kind of bad, then it's all right.
Yeah, I just don't.
Maybe.
I just don't think she has the. She's a famous singer, and she can definitely sing better than I can. That's for sure, because I'm terrible. But I don't think she has the talent of a Marvin Gaye to pull off something where you're trying to switch up. I mean, it's kind of interesting. The American national anthem is kind of, if you think about it, as a really difficult song. Some of the notes and things like that. Actually, the Canadian national anthem, which came on right before then, I know you guys definitely did not listen for that. It's just a much easier song to sing for singers. And so the Americans, it takes a certain voice, and she does not have that extra element. I think.
I don't know if they played. Did they play that on the regular?
Yeah, they did. It was right before it was the Bare Naked Ladies. They came out.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, that was.
There was somebody on Twitter that said there was one guy, a fat guy in the Bare Naked Ladies, and they said he was the white Rick Ross, is what they said.
Gross.
And I like that.
Yeah, for some reason I saw the Canadian one, but I didn't see the U.S. one, so I must have went upstairs or something like that. But yeah, and this is for another chat, but I'll just say it here right now. They need to change the U.S. national anthem. They need to make it America the Beautiful and get rid of the Star Spangled Banner. But that's a conversation for another show.
What about Lift Every Voice?
Let's get into the game, though. Let's talk about the game. They changed the format. They made it to where LeBron and Steph, picked the teams. Of course, they didn't do it at center court like everybody wanted, but it sounds like they may do it in the future. But they upped the money that the players would get for winning. They upped money that would go to charity as well. So how do you guys think that the change of format impacted the play of the game?
I loved it. If Ryan, you want to jump in, but I loved it. I thought it was a needed change. I mean, I'm not saying this is the greatest All-Star game ever. I'm not saying I'm completely sold on All-Star games going forward, but at least for this year, it actually held my attention for a very long time. It was somewhat more entertaining, and I think it's just because they were pretending to play defense, and that's all that really mattered. So all the other things, the money, the picking teams, I don't know if that really had impact, but at the end of the day, somebody must have said, "Hey, let's pretend to play a little defense, make this somewhat more competitive," and I think that really just helped the optics of the game. And so it held my attention the whole way through, which I honestly cannot remember the last All-Star game that did that. It must have been probably back in the mid Kobe Shaq era. That'd be the last All-Star game I watched all the way through, like this one last night. So from that standpoint, I loved it. What about you guys?
Man, I'm gonna tell you this. I have not watched an actual All-Star game since Kobe tore his Achilles. At least. Because I was just like, I don't have any reason to watch. They're not trying hard. Kobe would go hard at people, so they would in turn then have to play hard a little bit, or they was gonna get embarrassed. But I kind of gave up on it, man. I would just watch the dunk contest and do something else on Sundays because it was just getting ridiculous, and it was basically trash basketball. I can't watch that. I'd rather watch some little kids hooping in the driveway, to be honest. But this time. If you watch that riding with Kerry Champion with LeBron and KD, they both talked about how they were both going to say that everybody was going to up their games. And KD mentioned that if we the best two players in the league, then everybody should follow their lead. So I'm glad they did that. And they went out and said they were going to play hard. I think James Harden might have got a steal right off the jump. I'm not sure who got that steal. But there was a steal right off the bat, not a dunk. A wide open run from the three-point line and just dunk it with nobody touching them. So I knew right then and there that they were going to play some ball. And that's why I was like, let's not record the podcast. I'm going to watch this All-Star game.
Yeah, and I've kind of been the same where I really haven't been watching the All-Star games. I would usually watch a little bit. Like I might watch a quarter or I might watch 10 or 15 minutes just to get a taste. But because it wasn't competitive, I never really or at least in the past 5-6 years, I haven't really watched it that intently. But I enjoyed this one. It was good. Like you said, people were trying hard. Embiid had some nice blocks. There were a lot of foul calls, people going to the line. You could see the guys hustling. I thought it was really the perfect mixture of playing hard and still doing those spectacular plays that we want to see all-stars do. Like when who was that? LeBron hit the little bounce alley-oop where he bounced it off the floor, and AD caught it, and it was just a lot of nice little plays like that where you still get some nice dunks, some nice alley-oops, some long-range three-pointers, but at the same time you get guys competing, and that can't be exemplified more than the final play of the game, which was a terrible offensive play by Team Steph. It was just everybody standing right where they were.
We'll talk about that. But
they just trapped and triple teamed down on him, and you saw those guys really wanted to win. So I thought that was definitely a win for the league.
Man, that really it irked me because I think it's one of those things that I have a problem with the Toronto Raptors players. So Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are so scary. Every single year, if LeBron is across the court from them, they act like they don't know how to play basketball, man. We understand how great LeBron is. That's fine. We understand he might block your shot. That's fine. We understand he's faster, stronger, bigger than you. But come on, man. You didn't forget how to play basketball when LeBron stepped on the court. And that's what happened in the last few seconds. DeMar DeRozan goes in, has a shot. This dude decides, oh, I'm going to pass it. You ain't never passed in your life. This dude averages 3 assists, man. What is he doing? And it's just what irks me about the Eastern Conference and the Toronto Raptors, who I feel should be a lot better of a team than they are.
Yeah, that particular pass you're talking about was terrible. I know exactly which one, where I think Steph was, he ended up hitting him out on that left baseline, and that was stupid. But Paul, do you have anything else just about the game itself before we talk about?
The game was fun. I think interesting also was I don't know if you heard Jimmy Butler did not play a single minute, and he basically
I noticed that
he did not play a single minute. So they were wondering if it's is it Tibbs playing them too many minutes and they're wore out, or is it that he was partying too hard in LA for All-Star weekend?
It could be a little bit of both. Tibbs is playing him 47 minutes a game, man. He leading the league in minutes. You can't play for him, man. If I was him when I'm a free agent, I got to go.
Well, I thought they said Jimmy Buckets was sick, and I didn't
Sick of
know if
playing.
that was.
His knees was sick.
I didn't know if that was because he went out and partied like Paul said, or if he just this nasty flu was going around. So, who knows?
He was out there, but I guess he told the coach. He said I'm cool if you don't play me none, and so they didn't play him none, which is interesting.
Right.
He is a superstar, and so he did not play a single minute. But hey, if you're not ready to give it your all, you might get injured out there. And those guys were actually, they weren't going super hard at each other, but it was competitive. They were fouling stuff like that. So
still get that 100,000.
That's just rest.
But he's still gonna get paid regardless. So,
Yep.
And I'm sure he, as long as he was cool with it, as long as he was the one who said, "Hey, don't play me," or I'm not feeling good. I don't mind if you don't play me or whatever. Like, I got no problem with it. You want to sit at an All-Star game, sit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had
go ahead.
So it
Ryan.
was a few minutes left in the game. I remember saying on the group chat, who's gonna get the MVP because Steph's team, nobody was really outshining anybody. I thought it was a pretty even effort, and I was like, maybe they can give it to Giannis because his stat line looked like it might be the one that looked better than everybody else's. But everybody was pretty mediocre. It was a good team game though. And then they go on a run.
Who got MVP?
LeBron. They go on a run, and LeBron was already looking at 20-some points, 10 boards, and 6 assists when I said that. And then I don't know what he finished the game at, but he kind of took over. He hit a big three. So, we knew it was going to be LeBron at that point anyway if they won the game. I just didn't think they could pull off a 10-point swing like they did.
Yeah, him and Anthony Davis, that was fun to watch. They were pretty. That was pretty fun. But it's amazing what LeBron's doing, man. At his age and 14 All-Star games and just the level of performance he's doing. And this was a competitive All-Star game. I mean, he is otherworldly. He whatever Kobe did to over in Germany. I think LeBron's getting that done every single week. It's got to be something going on.
Yeah, squirt. My man, my dude, well, conspiracy brother is here. That dude is dope. I don't care what nobody say. He got the top. He has the top drugs in the country, man. But that dude is dope.
That boy is a hater.
Shout out to LeBron. He cold, but it should have been coming down by now. This dude is still touching his head on the rim, man. Stop it.
You such a Kobe stan,
no, it has
bro,
nothing to do with it.
Can't stand to see LeBron shine.
Did you see Kobe's decline? Kobe was declining. He couldn't jump no more, although he was still giving cats the business. LeBron is still hitting his head on the rim.
Yeah, LeBron. I mean, he's a genetic freak, man. His body just shows no signs of slowing down. At least right now, I'm sure it's going to catch up to him here soon. But man, just the way he's playing. Never been hurt seriously. Never.
Dude ain't never even sprained his ankle and missed a game.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
He sprained his ankle a couple times with his
real
new
sprain.
LeBron 15s. Nothing serious, but I mean, the dude's a athletic freak, man. He's a freak of nature.
I've never seen him writhing on the ground in pain.
Yeah, I mean, it's
LeBron has writhed on the ground with a cramp, bro.
That's different.
When he get little minor injuries, he writhes.
So his muscles were too big, and that's why he cramped up. Man.
A lot of it's the new training stuff, man. You see some of the stuff that he does, and there's a whole science to it that man, honestly, they didn't have in sports 10, 15 years ago. It's a lot of flexibility, stretching, things like that. I mean, I'm not saying it's the sole cause of all this. I mean, there's a lot of luck, and who knows whatever else is going into his body. I'm sure he's clean, but just
that boy got a cryo chamber in the crib.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of training type stuff. This, this stuff Tom Brady's talking about, all this flexibility stuff, plyometrics. It's all built in, man. But anyway.
Well, and here's my question about that, Ryan. So you just outwardly hating on LeBron, and I will say that I have had my time where I've done a little LeBron hating when he first left the Cavaliers to the Miami Heat. But I finally had to overcome my LeBron hate. Like, I was a huge LeBron fan, and I was a big LeBron hater. Now I'm back to being a LeBron fan. And the reason is because he stands up so strong in social justice issues.
Oh, yeah.
And so this week before the All-Star game, you had this thing with Laura Ingraham from Fox News where, LeBron and KD, they were talking about just social injustice and, the need to speak out and things like that. And she came on Fox News and told him to shut up and just dribble a basketball, basically. So what do you guys think just about that story and the reaction to it?
Man, I think it's pretty funny because she said basically she wouldn't want to take her political advice from somebody that gets paid $100 million a year to dribble a basketball. Now, LeBron don't make that much. But at the same time, why should we then take our political advice from somebody that gets paid that's probably the same as LeBron a year and you have no qualifications of nothing? You're just a person talking, just like everybody else. You're just giving an opinion. But it's funny that whenever black people got something to say, like it's some kind of way you gotta tear them down. What he's saying is not merit based. I mean, he's educated on his own. Maybe he didn't go past high school, which she made sure she said that.
No, she said he didn't finish high
That's
school.
right. She said he left a
Which
year
was
early.
a damn lie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, Paul.
I mean, this is my. I think everybody's kind of got the same opinion. At least all of us have the same opinion on this. My thing is, I mean, whatever she's gonna say, it's she. LeBron is LeBron. LeBron is a brand unto himself. He is arguably one of the two greatest NBA players of all time. Arguably, definitely one of the greatest athletes of our generation. I mean, he's definitely in that Kobe, Jordan, whoever else you want to talk about. My thing is, why even give this lady airtime and make the story even longer? Because it's not going to change anybody. Nobody's listening to her is going to be changed by anything LeBron articulates.
Right.
So you're talking about a person that has hundreds of millions of followers and is worth billions of dollars, and versus a lady that's on Fox News at nobody knows what time and it's probably watched by a couple million people, and she's very very small sliver. So why give her any? You're just having her name out there, just giving more credibility to these crazy stories, and just fuels other people to come at LeBron or other people that have that. I mean, there's people out there are going to have their opinion, thinking athletes or whoever else shouldn't say anything that they don't agree, and it's really based on if they don't agree with that person. I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about an athlete can't say anything about a reality TV show president that's famous from having reality shows. I mean, but we can say that a reality TV show president can have all the opinions in the world, and we have to take those as gospel. I mean,
Right.
It's just kind of crazy. So, of course, I think these guys. I think it's great that I think more so the point is that I think it's great in this generation that there are athletes that are willing to speak out on issues, and not necessarily say that we all should agree or disagree. I mean, there's going to be guys that we don't agree with all the time, and they should have a voice. But it's different than when us three were growing up. I mean, like Michael Jordan. Of course, he famously said Republicans buy shoes too, and there was none of this kind of discussion. There were none of these people that were leading any kind of change or anything like that. I mean, it was all very sanitized, and hey, don't mess up this money. We got to get this paper, and that was really it. So just stay quiet, and that's really changed in the last 5 or 6 years, and the NBA really seems to be at the forefront of this. So I think that's really interesting, and that gives me hope for the future. Because certainly we never had that when we were growing up. You never heard athletes take a stand on anything. It was just, hey, be quiet and just play sports and basically do what Laura Ingraham wants them to do, just play and shut up. And so I kind of like that they're speaking out a little bit. Not saying that I'm always going to agree with them every single time, but anyway, that's my take on it.
Definitely.
Well, here I'm gonna play the routine Paul position here, and I'm gonna ask a question about so. Ingram had this book called Shut Up and Sing back in 2003. And so since she made that book or whatever, I guess it's her usual stick to where she tells people, to shut up and whatever. So if she's talking to an actress who's speaking out in political, she's going to say, shut up and act. If she's talking to, a race car driver, she's going to say, shut up and race. So is everybody blowing this out of proportion? Because she told him to shut up and dribble, or why is that different from when she told this comedian just shut up and tell jokes?
I don't think it's blown out of proportion, because technically you're talking about LeBron, who's probably is he the most famous person in the world right now? Maybe.
I think we're gonna. Unfortunately, I think we're gonna go with Trump as the most famous person in the world. I think we're gonna.
I'm pretty sure. I think LeBron's probably up there though. I mean,
He's
even
definitely up there.
yeah. So if you on par with the president of the United States, you know that you're going to get clicks or whatever once you say his name, and that's basically what that's about. And it's the typical right wing politics where you just tell the other side to shut up and you don't listen.
Yeah,
So,
my personal thought on this is that this is where I've been hanging out with Ryan too long over the years. So this is my conspiracy mindset. But think about it. Okay, this story. Laura Ingraham says this stuff last Thursday, Friday afternoon, evening. Maybe 1 million people watch that show. 2 million people watch that show on Fox News. A very small sliver of the segment. Okay, what happened after that? There were no NBA games on until whatever Sunday. Nothing good. The dunk contest and whatnot like that. I personally, my conspiracy mind is that this is all fueled by the media making this a story because she happened to say it right before the NBA went dead with no games. And so now we need an NBA story to write about. All these NBA writers are down there in Los Angeles. They got nothing. Nobody cares about the celebrity game. Not many people care about the skills competition or the three-point contest or the dunk contest anymore. So what are we going to write about for the next 4 or 5 days while we're down here justifying, while we're on expense accounts? Hey, well, let's write about this Laura Ingraham story and make that a controversy. And I personally think that's where it came from. I mean, it's just like, okay, who cares what this crap? There's somebody saying something on some right wing podcast right now about LeBron James or Kevin Durant or whatever else too, and that's not picking up any traction. I think this just caught because you got video of it, and and there was a dead period. So that's my take on it.
I don't think so. Like for me, I believe that there are certain circumstances or certain situations, where you just can't say the same thing to everybody.
Yeah.
For an example, if you got two women who have known each other, or let's say you got two sisters and, they done been through it. They done been sisters for 20, 30 years. One sister can call the other one the B word. And they cool with it because they know it's all love, but people say that and they joke and they say, oh, yada, yada. And like, it's all good. Or I can call Ryan the N-word and that's my partner. We good with it. But if somebody from the outside comes and calls us that,
I cannot do that.
Right.
For the record, Paul has never called anyone the N-word that I know about. I appreciate that.
Right. And so I think that's the difference to where even though she's going and telling these other people to shut up and do whatever, like when it comes to black people, because that is something that has happened historically to us, people tell us, shut up, we don't want to hear what you're saying, just work, shut up and dance, shut up and play or whatever. Like, it's not the same. Like you can't just say that to black people. So I think that's what it is. I think she was out of bounds. I think it was a ratings ploy. Like she knew the All-Star game was coming up.
Yeah, definitely.
She knew LeBron James. And so, she wanted to race bait and she wanted to get some ratings. And so that's what it was. And the fact that
the Kerry Champion thing had recently came out. So
the Cherry Champion. It was Black Panther weekend, Black History Month. So it was a perfect time for her to come in and do that.
Did you guys see the tweets by Chris Long, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive end, son of Howie Long? Of course, he's kind of been a noted.
He used to be around. We know who he is.
Yeah. So
Chris Long has a lifetime invitation
to the barbecue.
cookout.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I'm still looking for that lifetime invitation myself. But
nah, you might get a one-off here and there, but
not the full thing. I know. I need
not
to step my game up. But I liked his little tweets because he was basically tweeting at Laura Ingraham, and he was talking about, so LeBron's got to shut up, but you can have people on there. And so he fired off a list of like all the different people, all the different photos. They had like Angelina Jolie's dad on there and and all these other crazy. I mean, so they were like,
that thread was dope.
The thread was great. So it made my day. But it was just, you just see the hypocrisy as long as it's all partisan stuff. So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time talking about politics.
Yeah, let me say one last thing on this one. What I think when I hear this is like people say you shouldn't talk politics if you're an athlete, actor, whatever. And it's like, but politics affects everybody.
Exactly.
So whether I'm a construction worker, a plumber, an actor, a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, these decisions that are being made by politicians affect me. So why in God's name would anybody say, no, you shouldn't talk about politics? Like, it directly affects us. So I don't know. I just always hate that idea anyway. But
I agree.
Yeah, let's move on to the next topic. Ryan, go ahead and lead us there, man.
All right. So here we go. As y'all know, this was opening
Drum
weekend for
roll.
Black Panther. Yeah,
Yeah,
drum roll.
Was it?
It was some kind of
hadn't
way.
heard.
Yeah, I found out. Man, I got the 32 picture rolls of people taking pictures at the theaters, and man, it was crazy out there. And then I got a picture from Phenom himself.
Yes,
My boy
sir.
had on
The
the
king
the
hat.
dashiki and a crown.
Tilted to the
Tilted to
side,
the
baby.
side.
Cocked. I
Tilted to
like
the
that. I had
side.
it cocked to the side.
Yeah, cock to the side. How was your experience at the show?
Man, it was wonderful. Yeah, I definitely wanted to try to go all out. I had the dashiki on, I had the crown, I got a African necklace from some people at work, and
Chest
so I
hair
wore that. I
showing.
had a bracelet
Yeah.
on. Right, right, right. And it was good to see other people out there out like that. Other people out there dressed up. Other people were there excited. Had people coming up to me, giving me dap, giving me handshakes and
What?
whatever. And especially in St. Louis, you don't really see that a
Nah,
lot between black people. Like unless you
it's
know
still pretty
somebody, like black
standoffish.
people
Yeah,
will walk past each other
yeah. Head
like
nod don't work
crazy.
here all
So
the
just
time.
to right, so to see that love out there and just all the black folks, and there was white folks in the movie theater too, and just everybody there, and it was crazy because neither one of y'all seen it yet, right?
Nope.
No,
Nope.
not
Nope.
yet.
Don't want to though.
Which y'all both on probation for that reason. But but just even though it was a packed movie theater, and I mean they had showings all day, so all the movies were packed, but it wasn't loud, it wasn't rowdy, like it was everybody was just so taken in by the movie.
What's the craziest thing you
And
saw in the crowd, in the audience?
I didn't really see anything crazy. I mean, it wasn't like people were just being fools. They're just people, a lot of people had their dashikis on or had, just different African attire on.
Was anybody dressed like
But it
Coming to America? Because for some reason people thought Coming to America was Black Panther.
not at the theater that I went to, but I have seen plenty of those pictures, so I know,
Yeah, it had the king,
people out there like
the
that.
King
Like we just
Joffrey
trying
Joffre
to,
outfit.
Right.
yeah, we just see that as an opportunity to do anything African. So African or Caribbean, even, everybody was just out there. But I support it, man. I'm like, people get out there for Star Wars, for Star
Oh
Trek,
yeah.
for Harry Potter, for all these movies. So I hate when I see, especially black folks on social media, like, why are we dressing up? Why are we? Man, let us be excited.
Right.
Let us be
Nerds
excited. And it
dress up
was a
all the time.
good, yeah, and it was a good movie. You know what I'm saying? I won't go into details, especially y'all haven't seen it. Some of the listeners might not have seen it yet. But I just thought it was a good all around movie. Had a good plot, good action, good actors.
So
Man,
everything
I
they've been hyping up,
enjoyed it.
it's true, huh?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I didn't come out like this is the greatest movie I ever seen, but I came thinking like this was a really good movie. Like just the depth of the story, like it was just a really good movie.
So did you watch any of the other Marvel movies? Like what was the last one you saw?
I think the last one I saw,
Because you
and
don't
I'm
really talk
terrible
about it,
at.
so I don't think you watch them. So I don't really know how to judge it.
I haven't seen all of them. I saw the what was the last one with all of them where
The
they introduced
Avengers.
Black Panther.
Probably
Uh,
yeah.
The
Well,
second
no,
Avengers
it'll
movie.
be Civil
yeah,
War, Captain America,
yeah, Civil War. Yeah, Civil War. That's the last one I saw.
or Guardians of the
And I've
Galaxy. I'm
probably
thinking all of
seen.
them.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. I haven't seen all of them, but it does make me kind of want to go back and start to watch the ones that I miss now. So I'm up on the characters. So when I'm going and watching the new ones, I'll be all caught up.
Yeah, definitely peep Civil War, which is on Netflix now.
Yeah, I
Because
saw that. That's the
Black
one I
Panther.
saw. That's the last one I
Okay,
saw.
okay, yeah. So that was good. All right.
And
Well,
then
so you're trying to tell me that there were no white women that were beaten or abused at the theaters you were at? Because for some reason the trolls were saying that that white women were being beat up at the Black Panther premieres.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, that just happened all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like when I went, I got my popcorn, and a white
Punch the
woman
white
handed me the
woman in the
pipe, and I just
face.
smacked her.
Okay.
Yeah, I just smacked her, and the police officer was looking, but it was a black officer, and he saw me in my dashiki, so he was like, "Yo, he
you good. You
gave
got
me
a
the head
pass.
nod. He gave me the head nod, and I was good. It's like Black Panther Day. No, there was none of that, and it's just crazy that the world has come to that where you got people trying to take down the scores because it's Black Panther. You got people making up, stories about white people getting beat up. It's just silly. This is a crazy world.
But hold on now, Ish, tell the truth now. Were there any white people sitting near you in the theater?
Trying to think.
And if so, did you stare at them when something went down in the movie? Did you look at them and like, you lucky? You don't get. You're lucky. I'll take my belt off right now. Beat your ass.
No, there was a white man who was sitting. My wife was on my right side, and there was a white man who was on her right. So he was just one seat removed from me. Was there by himself, and I didn't even think about it. The movie was so good, so engaging. I didn't even think about it. Like the only thing I thought about other than the movie while I was in there is when I first sat down, I wondered, I'm like, is my crown blocking the people behind?
That's a good point.
And so,
very good point. But you was at a black movie, so everybody was used to being distracted.
Yeah, but it was the people behind me were Asian, I believe. So I was like, I was looking and I'm like, I don't want to block their view. So, but then the way the seats are, I'm like, nah, there's enough. So I had it on. And then I took it off after a while, and then I put it back on. It was like a proud moment where something good happened. I was like, oh, I got to put the crown back on. And so I put it back on, and then I took it off. So it was on and off throughout the movie. But no, man, it was just a good movie. Like I said, it was no loud people. It was no distractions. Everybody just enjoyed the movie.
So was everybody pulling chicken out their bags? That was also something that I saw was going to be happening. Everybody was going to be pulling Popeyes out their bag with the the special seasoning and all that kind of stuff. Did you see any problems like that?
I did not see it, although I've been known to have a few items in the movie theater, which I didn't this time. So
we know Ish is cheap, so he snuck a bunch of candy in his wife's purse and brought it.
No, actually, my wife is usually the one that
yeah, she undercover now. She undercover.
But no, I didn't notice it. If it happened, I didn't notice. But there's so many people out there. I mean, this movie made 217 million opening weekend, something like that. So I'm sure that the theaters made their concession money. Like they got nothing to complain about.
Good. Yeah, because supposedly the movie broke. Well, it didn't break a record, but 235 million in its debut, which is double that of the Justice League movie.
Yeah, they said fifth highest all time. Wow.
Yeah, so
highest for a black director, highest for
all kinds of.
It was the highest for a bunch of different stuff. But
so I don't know what DC is doing right now, but they are losing because they taking C and D list characters like Black Panther, who I'm a huge comic book person and I don't even know nothing about them really outside of the movies, and again made another hit same way they did with Iron Man. So that's real cool.
Yeah. Well, Ish, when I do go see it, I'm gonna need to borrow that dashiki so I can look like Dirk when he went to that wedding. So I need to borrow that dashiki for a while.
I got you, fam.
All right. Yeah. The only thing I'll say about Black Panther is I'm really interested to see what the dude Ryan Coogler does next, man. I mean, he's on fire, man. Fruitvale Station, that was kind of a dramatic movie, but very good. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. Of course, Creed, which I watched and I liked. I'm not saying it was the greatest, but it was a good reboot. Ryan has not.
Yes, you watched Creed, didn't you? You into boxing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Creed. Creed was good.
And they got a Creed 2 coming out here soon, and it's supposed to have the Russian dude's son, and it's going to be Creed versus that dude. So that's going to be I think that's going to be interesting. That's my favorite Rocky of all time. I think that's everybody's favorite Rocky personally. And so I really want to see what he does next as far as an original script. If he's got one in him, because right now it just seems like dude can't do anything wrong from the movies. So really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, very very smart move by Marvel getting him in there and putting out another blockbuster. So another smart move we have here is a young black teen in the United Kingdom recently did an IQ test, and they said he tested at a 162, which is higher than both Einstein and Bill Gates. So I thought that was super cool. I'm always now trying to find some good stories to tell, about black people. And I got a curious Facebook response to that. So I do want to read that to y'all.
Hold on. Set the stage about like who the I mean, not don't get
I'm
too
not
detailed.
gonna say names. I'm gonna try to protect the
Yeah,
innocent.
but generalities. You know.
Generalities. Ish, you might know him maybe better than me. What would be your description of him?
Well, I mean, my description, especially, there's a guy that we went to high
But I said
school
this.
with,
Your
and
school was all black though, right? The school was all black, right? Or no?
No,
no, school
no.
wasn't all black. No, school was mixed. It was a mixed
I think it was probably a good
school,
half
and
and half. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah. When we got there, it was probably 60-40 white to black, and by the time we left, it was 60-40 black to white. Um, but the guy was cool in high school, cool,
Yeah.
but just lately, just looking on Facebook, he's a white guy, and he is one of those guys that plays the white victimhood card, like where he feels like being white is putting him at a disadvantage because things like affirmative action or people, if you got scholarships that are only for black people, black students, why you got to have your own scholarship? So he's one that just always takes that victimhood role. So when Ryan sent this the screenshot of what he sent, I wasn't surprised once I saw who it was, but yeah, that's all we need to know about him. Ryan, go ahead
Man,
and share what he told you.
I cannot describe how much this dude irks me on a regular basis because this happens a lot. He does it with other things too. Some religious things that we post. So he'll tag myself and another minister friend of ours. But and that's cool. I don't mind having the debate. And but this time he said, and I quote, "That's great news. There are some smart kids out there. Great, good for him. I hope he cures cancer." But why is it special to add black to the headline? He said, "Do you see news stories being headlined white guy or Asian guy being smart?" Then he goes on to say, or how talking about how amazing they are. He said, yada yada yada. He said, "No, you don't. But if you do, send it to me. I think these stories actually work in reverse for minorities, and it should not be amazing to make a smart kid a news story. It should be just the normal thing expected." Which he tried to clean it up there, so I don't mind. But I, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah. I mean, let me just jump in here. This is why I am not on social media. I'm sick of social media. I dropped off Facebook a year or two ago, and I'm happy for it. With all that said, follow the podcast. It's on Twitter, Instagram.
on Facebook at the Black Delegates podcast.
But if you're looking for me, I'm not out there. I've got a Twitter. I'm not going to tell you the handle, but I don't write anything. I don't express any thoughts, and I definitely don't want to follow nobody and hear their dumbass thoughts. The people I do want to hear from, I'm out there, but I am not on none of that stuff, and I ain't trying to hear none of these dumbass comments. So leave me the hell alone. No friend requests from me.
Man, ultimately, my response to him was because we need this type of news out there, some positive stories about black people.
Exactly.
Because every single time there's a black story, for the most part, it's a negative story. It's about some kid that robbed a store. Yeah, just any minority story. Yeah, not just black people, brown people too, Mexicans, whatever. If you're not white, there's generally not many feel good stories about you, especially here in St. Louis. Apparently, everybody that commits a crime in St. Louis is black. Nobody, or because if they aren't black, they don't get their picture put on TV. So that's how you could tell when there's a white offender of a crime. And I just want to put positive news stories out there about people that look like me. And what's wrong with that? Where you have to make a comment about it.
Yeah.
Right. And what this is a case of is just what I consider a majority mindset. You know what I'm saying? So because he's white, because he has that privilege, and some white people get offended when you say white privilege. They say, no, I don't have a privilege. I grew up poor. I grew up, my mother didn't have nothing. My parents didn't have anything.
Pretty sure that's what
but
he told
they don't understand that you still have privileges. Even if you come from a broke household, you still have privileges with being white. And one of those things is you can turn on the news. You can see positive stories about white kids, white adults, white men, white women, whatever, all the time. You can turn on a sitcom and you see a bunch of white people that look like you all the time. That's not the case with black people, and my nephew's gotten a bunch of publicity in the past year, just going crazy, just flown all around the country by different people because he started a book club for African American kids. And it's like,
shout that out.
On
Give
the
him a shout
surface,
out.
you
What's the
might
name of it?
Yeah, Books and Bros.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
on the surface of it, it's like, okay, he started a book club. Like, what's the big deal? There's a lot of book clubs. But when you get down underneath the surface, you're like, there's not a lot of book clubs for black kids. You know, in his book club, they read books by black authors and they got illustrations of black boys. So, not to get off on that tangent for him, but it's just like,
Right, because
we don't
he said
have
he
that.
wasn't seeing any black people in the books he was reading. Right,
Right, right. And so, for
and that's a kid
the
saying
person
that, so
who
he
wrote
noticed.
you, right, the person that wrote you this message, you know, he sees those images every day, so he doesn't understand why there's a need. He's like, why do you have to say is black? You know what I'm saying? Because in his mind, we should be living in this post-racial society, but we're not.
Right.
Yeah. From the Brown perspective, I on a slight level, I understand where he's coming from, but the point is what you guys are saying, and we're not there yet. You know, there's just not enough positive role models, enough positive media stories about minorities out there. And so, yeah, whenever there's good stories, people, black people or whoever is gonna, that's that of that group are probably gonna say, hey, champion that story and want to push it out there. So I mean, hey, just be happy for the kid. The kid's not doing anything wrong. He's got a good IQ. He's made in the papers. Hopefully, he does become very successful one day.
I hope he
And
does
just
cure cancer. Since he
yeah,
thought
and
that
then
was
be
funny.
happy that and be happy that other people are happy for him. And that's what we want. We want a community that takes these kids and pushes them to be the best they can be. And that's all we can hope for the future. And yeah, it's just one of those things. People just don't understand, and they want to talk too much, and that's my problem with social media. People have too many instant reactions, too much trolling out there, too much just want to say something to get a rise out of. And this kind of goes back to the Laura Ingraham and all the LeBron stuff too. It's just too much in the society. So every now and then it's good to just shut it all down and get away from all that stuff, because there is a lot of negativity out there online.
Hey, if it was just social media, I'd be okay with it, but it's not. People on social media are saying their real thoughts, and that's the difference now, is that we can see their thoughts. Every day we get the bird's eye view of what's going on with how everybody thinks. When we didn't have that before, you could hide in the line at the checkout stand and smile and nod and all that kind of stuff. But now, behind the veil of your computer, you can really say what you really feel, and we're
Or
starting to
make
see
or
what people
by
really
making
feel.
your own podcast.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
can do that too. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to. I made a Black Delegates podcast so I can get a black people's perspective on things. That's all. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted. I mean, it's not too many of us out there. There's quite a few, and I listen to all of them probably. I think, but it's just we're trying to start somewhere, just like they started somewhere. And when we own everything, then we won't have to have Black History Month anymore.
Yeah, and one thing, and I was trying to sit here and find which newspaper that this was out of. I couldn't find it immediately,
It was on
but
Ricky
there was
Smiley,
a.
the IQ.
Oh, you got that?
Yeah, so it was a Ricky
Okay.
Smiley article.
Oh no, no. Well, I'm talking about the. I'm actually talking about this. That school shooter, the Cruz guy
Oh,
that came out and killed 17 people at the school. And there was a newspaper. I don't know which one. That if I figure it out before the podcast over, I'll say it, or we'll link it in the show notes. But there's a headline of a newspaper. I want to say it's in Chicago, and they had a big picture of a black man who I guess had murdered somebody or shot somebody or something. And he had a big, huge picture of his face.
wow.
And then on the side, they had this little picture of the police arresting Cruz. Was it Nicholas Cruz? And it said Cruz killed
So trouble
high
team,
school student
trouble team.
killed trouble teen kills 17 on the right rail, and then the big huge picture on the front was this black man who shot or did something to somebody. Now both of those are terrible crimes, but you telling me that this person who was violent against one person deserves this big center placement on the paper, and this person that killed 17 children,
Yeah.
you just gonna put a little small picture on the right. And that's something that happens all the time in America. Black men especially are just looked at as villains and animals and these big scary people.
Right.
Whereas you got this white dude that shot up this whole school, and people immediately, oh, it's mental health. We have to get his mental health taken care of. Well, actually, at first they said, oh well, he must be Mexican. His last name is Cruz, so he came across the border. And when they found out, no, he's white. He was adopted. That's how he got that.
Yeah.
That's how he got that name.
Yeah, the Brown delegation does not claim him. I just want to put that out there for the record.
Right.
We are not claiming him. We disavow all knowledge of this dude.
But that is the reason why you need these positive black stories, and you have to say black, really, because black people, that's the only way that we're gonna find it. Because we're not in the news so much that if you don't put black on there, we're not looking.
I have to type in black podcast to find the black podcast. I can't just put in the topic because more than likely I won't get any black people. We way at the bottom.
Right.
But
that's the same reason why Black Panther blew up and did all this 230 whatever million. A big part of that is because every black person is going out and seeing it. Like the white comic book fans are gonna go out and see it anyway because it's a good comic book movies. But the black folks are showing out. We don't show out like that for movies, but it's a positive movie.
Wait a minute, it's a positive movie. We are not a slave. We are not a drug dealer. We are not hard on our luck. We are not jobless. We are kings and queens. Right. We're not beating a woman. We're not a rapper. We're not a singer or artist or a basketball player.
Not being saved by a white guy.
I got bars, man. I do have bars, though.
We all got bars. It's in our blood. Except for the Migos. But, other than them,
shots fired.
Bars. But yeah, man, I'm just tired of in general just being treated in the streets as if we are these big scary Jason Voorhees and Freddy. We gotta, if anything goes wrong, we get shot 18 times. They didn't shoot Jason that many times. They shoot one time and they're done and they just run. But if it's us, we got to get shot 8 to 10 times, and it's ridiculous. And then when we try to defend ourselves or say it was excessive, we told by other people that we, on a different side of the aisle that we need to shut up and sit down. We don't have to shut up and sit down. It's time for us. We need to stand up and be heard, and that's all we want.
Facts. Can't say it too much better than that, man.
I almost went on a Malcolm X rant. I had to stop myself. Like, free at last. No, that's Martin Luther King. But free at last, free at last. But I guess that might be it for tonight. I'm gonna end it on a rant.
Yeah, I think.
We got some stuff we can save for next time. We didn't even talk about the halftime show at the All-Star game. I forgot about that, man.
Let's talk about the halftime show. So we can end on something good.
Happy.
All right.
Okay.
So we had NERD at the end of the All-Star.
NERD and Migos.
Halftime.
Nerd.
Yeah, we had Nerd. It's NERD, right? You got to say it like that. So
no, you don't. You just say nerd.
Yeah, just say nerd.
My bad, y'all. I'm pretty sure there are periods in between there, but okay. So Pharrell was doing the halftime show. I thought there was an Asian dude in Nerd, but I never see him, so I'm not really sure how that works. I don't really follow his music like that. I hear what's on the radio, and I like his beats, but I don't listen to his albums really. But that halftime show was lit. I enjoyed it. They was all over the place, man. They was dancing from here to there. They was going harder than the Laker girls were when the players were announced. They need to switch those girls out, and they need to put them in with the Laker girls because they was getting it in.
Definitely. I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, we can talk about the Migos portion of it later, but I thought the Nerd was actually bringing it. I mean, the one thing I will say as an older washed dude, it might have been a little too risque for me at this point in my life. Definitely a 21-year-old Paul would have been like, hell yeah. But now, damn near 40, you're like, okay, maybe that's a little too much booty popping right there. We got kids and stuff like that. Can't be watching that, but I still enjoyed it. But yeah, those girls were definitely a lot thicker than the Lakers girls. Would have loved it. The short-haired girl that got up out the car with the thong. I mean, yeah, NBA was like, we don't give a damn. We're just gonna put it all out there and whatever. And that just kind of shows you the NBA's got a lot of they're definitely geared toward the younger audience, which is good, and I think they're gonna be well positioned a long time. But I could never see the NFL doing a halftime show like that at a
No.
Super Bowl or any kind of major event. Definitely not.
They were complaining about
major
Beyonce
sport.
stepping too hard when she came out.
Exactly. I mean, so yeah, NBA is just like, hey, no F's given out here, man. We're just gonna be whatever, booty popping, thongs hanging out, sing the song "Lap Dance," which is all about getting a lap dance, and yeah, that was it. What'd you think, Ish?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. And I'm a big fan of Nerd. I'm a big fan of Pharrell. Pharrell's like a vampire, man. He been doing it for a long time and still look like he like 15. But
He aged a
I
day.
just thought it was.
It's
Right.
him and Lorenz
I-
Tate, man. They just stuck in the time capsule.
All right. And I thought they just brought a lot of energy, and I thought they,
Except the Migos.
they just did their thing. It was different. Yeah, the Migos, that was different. The Migos, I was just like, wow, they so flat. And I think Ryan, you respond, you like, aren't they always like that? Which I don't watch them like that. So that was interesting because they were definitely real flat. But it was just like Pharrell and the dancers and just that whole thing. I just felt it definitely. So I enjoyed it, man. It was hot. And especially, like I said, bring it back to Black Panther weekend. And Wakanda, you got all these women with shaved heads, out there at the All-Star game. You got the women with the shaved heads doing their thing. And, Paul, I don't know if there's ever too much twerking or booty popping. As long as they're clothed and they're decent, I think it was fine.
Oh, you'll
And
never
that-
hear me say there's too much booty pop. I was just a little thinking like, that's
No.
something I've never seen before. This much booty popping on an NBA halftime show. But you'll never hear those words come out of my mouth. For sure.
And what I want to know is the young lady who was clearly like the lead dancer, who was all up in the camera. I want to know, like, what was her social media come up? Like, how many followers on Instagram did she get after that performance? Because I know it
no
went through the
telling.
roof.
Yo, I need to know how y'all found out her name so quickly.
Just Google.
It was like,
search,
who is
man.
this
Internet,
girl?
man.
And then all of a sudden people was like, oh, her name, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? How do you know a dancer's name?
Dude, all you do is, well, this is what I did. I know Paul used Google, the Google
No,
machine.
I use Twitter. I
went on
use
Twitter.
I use Twitter too.
Okay, yeah, I went on Twitter. I typed in "nerd dancer." It was already trending, and boom, boom,
That's
people like,
crazy.
"Yo, this her Instagram. Yo, this is." So it's a instant social media world. Like you can find out information ASAP Rocky. So
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm clearly
whenever
unwashed.
something like funny pops up, or especially on like a live sporting event, just go to Twitter search and type it in, and then you'll just catch up and then just read through a couple comments and somebody will have the link out. Somebody knows for some reason. It's really amazing how the things work. Now that's the good side of social media. Again, I still go back to all the things I said negative about it earlier.
Yeah, well,
I mean, if just look at it this way: if somebody is that skilled and talented at moving their booty, you know that somebody identifies that booty. Somebody has seen that booty move like that before.
No. This is the thing. This is the thing. If somebody's that skilled and talented moving that booty, and she's moving that booty in front of hundreds of millions of thirsty minority dudes, one of them dudes is gonna find
why
out
they
who
gotta
she
be
is.
minorities? Why it's gotta be because they're a minority?
Right,
What's that?
right,
That's racist.
right.
That's racist, Paul.
When we break down how many new followers she
white
got,
dudes are just as crazy.
so okay, let's say she got 10 million new followers after that performance last night. How many do you think were minority dudes?
Man, I think that was all across the racial spectrum, bro.
Okay,
White people enjoy twerking just as much as we do. That's a fact.
Fact. Okay, we need to
That's a
fact check
fact.
that one.
That's definitely a fact. When we get on our white correspondent, we're going to find one day, and we're going to ask them. They enjoy twerking too, man. It brought back my love for tennis skirts. I'm just saying. And on that note, we're going to close it out. Enjoyed it. Good episode. Good talking with y'all, man. You can find us on, what we on? Twitter, The Black Pod, at The Black Pod. You can...
No, man.
Did
we
you change
changed
it?
We
You still
changed
tweeting
it.
from the other one.
On Twitter, we are at Black Delegates with an underscore between Black and Delegates.
Now you change it. Fine. Y'all heard him. Is it The Black or just Black?
Just at Black Delegates.
At Black _delegates. All right?
Yes,
So that's
sir.
the Twitter handle. Where you can find us on Facebook, where you can like us and share to your friends, your parents. We try to keep it as clean as possible. Paul is allowed 5 cuss words per show.
I
So
did
no
pretty
more
good
than
today.
that.
I did pretty good today.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right.
I
He's
did.
getting better. He's getting better. We're gonna keep it clean because my mama asked me today, could I send her the feed link? So it's like sure. But anyway, I sent it. I also you'll be able to hopefully subscribe to iTunes here soon. I have submitted the podcast, and I'm sure they got some dude where his job is to listen to terrible podcasts and say whether or not it's okay to be on iTunes. So sounds like a pretty cool job. Hopefully he listens to this episode. If you're listening right now, shout out to you, man. If you can get that done for us, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
If you,
I think maybe the next episode we need to have Paul do the intro. We sound sound as white as possible. So if he don't feel like
confuse
listening to the
shit
whole
out of everybody.
episode, he hears them like, "Hey, this is your boy Paul," and then like we good, instant approval. It's like a credit check. Like, oh, that's a white dude, approved.
Definitely. So we appreciate y'all for listening. Like I always say, likes, shares, thoughts, and prayers. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Later.
Peace.